Welcome to the Daily Recall Show. I'm your host, Vasily, and this is the place where I share the things that I have learned and understood well so that you can think yourself smarter in just 5 minutes a day. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. So, today I will share the things that I have thought for myself instead of things that I have read from other people. And the idea that I want to talk to you today about is called the multifunctional form. Okay? So, the principle that I've shared yesterday, which is the ideal state law, basically leads to the question that a technical system is completely perfect when it has no form, but the function is performing flawlessly, right? And that means that we kind of have to unite forms. So in the technical system, like the satellite example that I mentioned yesterday, one form, which is the gadget that they had to put in, had to perform different functions. Okay? And this idea that one form can perform many functions is actually very useful in real life. And I've discovered that for myself last week, which is actually the way how I came up with the idea for this channel. So I'm going to share the process of thinking that I used to discover this idea of sharing knowledge to people on the internet. And I will also sum up a little bit of how the idea of multifunctional form can help you be more productive. Okay? So the first thing, let's kick off this from productivity perspective. And when people think about productivity, I think they mostly get it completely wrong. They either think that they have to do more things with their time, or they think that they kind of have to do the right things, right? That's how they call it. But the problem with those two things is, first, you've got a very limited amount of time in a day. So there is a natural cap. Nobody really works 15 hours, 16 hours. You got a slip arm in the end of the day, right? And the second problem is it's really hard to kind of figure out what are the right things and what are the wrong things to do. So my approach to productivity is the multifunctional form approach. And what I mean by that is that you're going to be really productive if you will do things where each thing is just one form, so it's one activity, but it contributes to many different functions. So that's basically the idea behind the multifunctional form, okay? To do things where you do one thing, but it contributes to many, many different areas. And a good example of this would be the story behind this channel. So when I actually was recalling my learnings last week, I thought that, okay, I'm doing this out loud, and I'm actually doing this every day. Every day I have these recall sessions where I present myself with a question and then I just reply to the question out loud. So that's how I kind of get to remember stuff well that I'm learning. And I thought that, okay, so basically I'm already doing this, right? And can I add any more functions to this form, to this activity that I'm already performing every single day? And then I was like, okay, I'm doing this out loud, but maybe I can download some speech-to-text app, and then I can launch that app when I'm doing this active recall session so that it takes my ideas that I'm recalling anyways and transforms them into text so I don't have to write blog posts. So that was basically the first initial thinking behind this, okay? And then I thought that, okay, but I'm really producing this active recall thing. I'm doing this active recall out loud, right? So there is the voice. So I can use the voice as a channel as well, right? So we've got two. We've got speech to text, which produces the text file, and the voice, which can be turned into a podcast, for example, okay? And that's just, nothing really changes in the form. I'm still doing the same thing just with a microphone. And the third thing, and then I thought that, okay, but I can actually hook this up to the iPad and I can record myself when I'm doing this with a microphone. And that's how I get the video for a YouTube. That's how I get the audio file for a podcast system. And that's how I get the text thing, right? And this is just the content perspective of it. But there are many different functions behind this active recall thing that I'm doing every day. So besides that, I'm improving my memory, I am learning much, I'm practicing my English skills because I'm not a native speaker by any means. I actually learn how to communicate ideas well, because when I'm recalling an idea, I am bringing it back from my memory, and then I kind of enrich this idea with other things that I have learned since the time that I first originally grasped this concept, right? So there is like a narrative practicing skill or something like that. And there are so many of them. There is pronunciation, there is English, there is narrative, there is public speaking, there is like self-confidence when you talk in front of a camera, all those things. And all these activities and all these skills that contribute and compound over time, they come from just doing one little thing, which is doing this active recall session in front of a camera. So I think that's a really useful idea, how you can think about being more productive in general. And that's why I decided to do this daily special episode to explain this idea, because I believe that if you would do this thing, if you would kind of unite multiple functions under the same form, that would be really useful, because you would have more time, or you would have more skills built and other things. So thank you so much for watching, and see you tomorrow.